Hi, I'm Tristan Ward, head developer here at InfoSemantics, and I'm here to talk to you today about our latest release of CpExtra, CpExtra 1.5. Now, the features in this version of CpExtra have come about due to us having to make our first course designed solely for mobile phones. And while we found that Captivate is definitely capable of now making a mature course for a mobile phone, that there are some hiccups in the user experience. So we have designed these features with mobile users in mind. Now, the first feature that we're going to look at is called xprefWakeLock. Now, on many mobile phones, people have the feature enabled that the screen will dim and turn off after a certain amount of inactivity. For example, for this phone, it's 15 seconds. The problem with this is that 15 seconds is not a lot of time, and the nature of our Captivate content means that learners will not be tapping their screen for up to minutes at a time. You can understand how it would become irritating to have to constantly tap the screen to keep it active when you're watching your Captivate course. So with this new preference variable, xprefWakeLock, when we enable it, by assigning this variable to 1, and we tap the screen once after it has been enabled, you'll find that this screen will remain illuminated continually. Now, I like to reiterate that after this variable has been enabled, you have to tap or click the screen once, which would usually happen through normal use of the project. This has to do with browser security settings. Now, this has been built using the No Sleep library for JavaScript, and we have found this to make a lot of difference for our course. It definitely makes the content less irritating to watch. Now, the next feature is xpref Disable Gestures. It also is related to mobile. If you've never created a mobile course, you may not know that there is an automatically enabled feature which allows you to swipe left or right to move forward or backward a slide. If you are creating a branching scenario, you probably want to disable this feature so that the learner is not able to move onto any branch that they were not meant to see. So when we enable this variable by assigning it to 1 or true or whatever, this means that when we swipe the screen back and forth, it will no longer respond to that. It also means that the pinch and zoom gestures are also disabled. Now, this does not have to be enabled for the entire course. You could turn it off for certain parts of the course to allow that navigation, but you can enable it for certain slides, for branching scenarios, and other certain situations where you do not want the learner to freely roam from slide to slide. So the next feature we're going to look at is xcmndGotoSlide, and for this we're going to move back over into the desktop environment. xcmndGotoSlide is a command variable where when we assign it the number or label of a slide, you will instantly jump to that slide. Now, you may think, don't we already have a command variable which does that? And yes, in a way we do. Captivate comes with CpExtra out of the box, where when we assign this variable, CpExtra a number, it will instantly jump to that number slide in the course. For example, 0 will jump to the first slide in the course. However, instead of wanting to jump to a slide based on its number, what if we wanted to jump to a slide based on its label? Well, let's give this a go. I'm going to copy the slide label of the first slide in the course, and we will jump back over to our export. Now, when I paste this slide label in so that I can assign it to CpExtra, you'll find that there is no reaction. However, for xcmndGotoSlide, our new CpExtra command variable, it can jump to a slide based on its slide label. The reason why you would want to do this by slide label rather than slide number is that due to adding and deleting slides, slide numbers can change on a very frequent basis. However, slide labels are much less prone to change and therefore a better candidate to add into your projects. So another feature as well is that xcmndGotoSlide is 1 base. So if we want to jump to the first slide, we type in 1 instead of 0. The next feature we're going to talk about is xprefStartSlide. This is a preference variable which allows you to define which slide of the Captivate project the movie should start on. Now, if you are like us, your work process for creating a course in Captivate is to work on one slide at a time. After you've got that slide to a point where you think it's ready to test, you would go to preview from this slide, or preview next 5 slides, which allows you to instantly almost see that slide, how it's going to work in the output. The problem is, as our projects become more sophisticated and as more CpExtra features become added, this may not work for us. For example, there's a CpExtra command variable xcmndCallActionOn, which allows you to call an action on a button or interactive object that is anywhere in the project. I like to put these buttons somewhere near the beginning of the project, perhaps the first slide, which means that if I am previewing this slide somewhere near the end and I preview from this slide, then it's not going to be able to find those buttons or extra slide information that it needs in order to accurately do the interaction that I am building. So instead, what we have is this xprefStartSlide command variable. If I copy this slide label and I jump to project variables and I find my xprefStartSlide variable, I'm going to assign it the value of this slide label. Now let's see what happens when we preview the entire project. Here with the entire project, when I click play, you'll see that it jumps us right into the middle of the movie rather than the first slide of the movie. So this is pretty good. However, we often find that we jump from slide to slide that we want to test. So if later we wanted to go back and test this xcmndGotoSlide, rather than going and copying this slide number, going back to project variables, and then sliding down until we find xcmndStartSlide and paste in that slide variable, we would like to be able to do this in a little bit of a less labor intensive way. So another way you can use xprefStartSlide is you can assign it an @syntax query. For example, let's use the @syntax query @_start. Then at the start of the movie, CpExtra is going to scan through the list of slide labels to see whether any of them match this @syntax query. Now in the case of our slide labels, none of them do. So the movie will start from the first slide as normal. However, if I go back into Captivate, I go to my current slide that I want to test and I type in at the end _start, it now matches that @syntax query. And when I preview the project and click play, we'll find that it jumps us to this particular slide. This now means when I want to jump from one slide to another as my test target, all I have to do is cut off this _start from the end of that slide label name and then paste it onto the next slide label that I want to test. And it's easy enough to jump between your slides just like that. Now, of course, you'll want to be careful that you remember to take off the _start from all your slides. If CpExtra finds that there are multiple slides which match that @syntax query, it's always going to jump to the first slide in the order of 1, 2, 3, 4 slides inside of Captivate. Also, before you publish your course and put it up onto the LMS, you'll probably want to disable this feature so that you don't accidentally set it up so that it jumps into the middle of the course rather than the start of the course, which you want the learners to see. So those are the major features for the newest release of CpExtra, CpExtra 1.5. We hope that this allows you to build a better quality of mobile courses, but there's also plenty of features in there which is useful for everyday use of Captivate, even on a desktop. Now, there are also many features inside of this latest build of CpExtra which we've not talked about because they have to do with a new product that we're bringing out for Captivate on infosemantics.com.au. So if you want to be the first to know about it, it's very exciting. It has completely changed the way that I develop courses for Captivate. Then please go to our newly redesigned website at www.infosemantics.com.au and sign up for our newsletter. So until then, I'll see you next time.